of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Sarva Atmana,
in full surrender.
Mahi,
Glory.
Pranami,
I shall chant or describe.
Yata Manisham,
According to my intelligence.
Nichaha,
Although low born, my father being a great demon, devoid of all good qualities, Jaya, because of ignorance, Guna Visargam, the material world, wherein the living entity takes birth, according to the contamination of the modes of nature. Anupravishtaha, entered into. Bhuyeta, may be purified. Yena, by which the glory of the Lord. He, indeed. Uman, a person. Anuvarnitena, being chanted or recited. Translation and purport. By His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Therefore, although I was born in a demoniac family, I may without a doubt offer prayers to the Lord with full endeavor, as far as my intelligence allows. Anyone who has been forced by ignorance to enter the material world may be purified of material life if he offers prayers to the Lord and hears the Lord's glories. Purport. It is clearly understood that a devotee does not need to be born in a very high family, to be rich, to be aristocratic, or to be very beautiful. None of these qualifications will engage one in devotional service. With devotion one should feel, God is great and I am very small. Therefore my duty is to offer my prayers to the Lord. Only on this basis can one understand and render service to the Lord. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 18:55, Bhaktya mama vijarati yavan yaschasmi tatvata tomam tatvatyatva vishate tadanantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as He is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Thus Prahlad Maharaj decided to offer his best prayers to the Lord without consideration of his material position. Tasmaraham Vika Viklava Ishwarasya Sarvatmana Mahi Gurunami Yata Manisham Nicho Jaya Guna Vishargamanu Pravishta Puyeta Yena Hipumang Anuvartinena. Therefore, although I was born in a demoniac family, I may without a doubt offer prayers to the Lord with full endeavor, as far as my intelligence allows. Anyone who has been forced by ignorance to enter the material world may be purified of material life if he offers prayers to the Lord and hears the Lord's glories. Ukam karoti bhachalam bangamanayate garinya kritam bandeshu garinya. So Sri Prahlad Maharaj, as it is stated here, Vigata Viklava, he gave up contemplation of being unfit. Or in other words, he gave up attachment, negative or positive, to his material background. Prahlad Maharaj was born in a demoniac family, the Asura Kula, is a family of Asuras. So, from material calculation, then he is unqualified to render devotional service. But that does not mean that one who is born in a high family, say a good Brahminical family, is qualified by dint of birth to be a devotee of the Lord. That is also a disqualification. Lord Krishna does not give any credence to such an idea in Bhagavad Gita that it is by birth that one is known as my devotee. It is not by birth, it is not by material circumstance. that one is known as devotee, nor, on the other side, is one disqualified by having a very low birth, very unfortunate birth. Lord Krishna makes that very clear in Bhagavad Gita, where he says that what is that? Striya Vaishyas Tata Shudras. That anyone, women, Vaishyas, mercantile, Shudras, they can approach me and attain the supreme destination. Everyone is welcome to surrender to Krishna. In fact, that is the single qualification. Krishna Eka Shadana. There are listed 26 qualities of the Vaisnava, of the pure devotee of the Lord. These qualities are not to be had by birth, they are developed by devotional service. And of these 26, there is one which is essential. In other words, you'll find different grades of devotees, more advanced, less advanced. But what is a devotee, essentially? What is it that differentiates a devotee, whether high birth, low birth, any birth, from materialistic people? And that is one thing, Krishna Eka Sharana, that they are fully dependent upon Krishna. They have given their lives to Krishna. Even the other 25 qualities may not be there. But if this one is there, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says the others will come. Because this one, Krishna Eka Sharana, he calls the Swarup. It is the Swarup Lakshana, the essential quality. The Swarup means the form. It is the very form of a devotee. And the others are Tatastha Lakshana. They're auxiliary qualities. They're assistants of this one essential quality, to be surrendered to Krishna. So Sri Prahlad Maharaj he is the paragon. He is the perfect example of one who is surrendered to Krishna. That is his shining, the quality that shines eternally. We're reading about Prahlad Maharaj today. These activities took place millions and millions of years ago. You see, what fame can compare with that? Sri Prahlad Maharaj is so glorious that millions of years hence, his wonderful quality of Krishna Eka Sharana, being exclusively surrendered to Krishna, is being discussed in Brahma. one section of Stockholm in Sweden, and many other places around the world. So, yes. So this is the opportunity for everyone. Everyone has this opportunity. That's why Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Shadhanam Vraja. You give up all consideration of Dharma. Dharma certainly means the Dharma that is associated with material background. Kula Dharma, it's called. Kula Dharma, the religion of the family. Just like in India, people will argue like this. Why in India? The West, everywhere. But I'm just giving an example in India. Demigod worshippers. They will say, no, in my family we worship Shiva. In my family we worship Durga. This is our Ishta Devata. So we cannot worship Krishna. Otherwise, Durga Ma will become angry with us. This argument they give. But it is not just restricted to Hindus. It is there. Christians and Muslims, everyone has their Kula Dharma. The religion which is associated with the family tradition. So when Krishna says Sarva Dharma Parityajya, he means kick this out. Okay, just get rid of this. This has no meaning. Dharma is Sanatan Dharma. Now you are, the Prabhupada would say, now you are in this family, whatever it may be. What were you in last life? What will you be in next life? That you don't know. You're making so many big words, big excuses. Oh, I cannot surrender because of my family, because of our family tradition, family religion. But next life, just like Prabhupada used to say, in the days of the Cold War, the Americans are fearing and hating the Russians, and the Russians are fearing and hating Americans. And to the last breath, they're meditating on the enemy, how to defeat them. They must be overcome. Khrushchev taking his shoe off and beating the UN. We will bury you! But then they die, and Yam vapi suram bhavam chijantam te kalevaram. Lord Krishna says, what you think of at the time of death, you will attain that. So then they switch sides. American becomes Russian. Maybe Russian dog Laika in the Sputnik. Anyway, some kind of Russian. Russian becomes some kind of American. Mickey Mouse. In this way, life goes on. So what is the use of making this argument of Kula Dharma? This is Vedic, this is Puranic. Just see, the Devas and the Asuras, they're the same family. Come from the same family. And they're switching sides also, birth after birth. You'll see this. That Bali Maharaj, he was given the reward that you'll become Indra in your next life. So Bali, he was very anxious to conquer Indra Dev. This Indra is a rascal. He's a demon, so he's thinking. Of course, Bali is a pure devotee, but by material category, he was demon, king of the demons. So his sworn enemy was Indra. But now he's going to become Indra. Next life. And Indra may become demon the next life. So, no, Bhagavad Gita is preaching Sanatan Dharma. What is our eternal Dharma? Our eternal Swarup, our eternal form. Nitya Krishna Das, an eternal servant of Krishna. So devotee is one who accepts that position, regardless of his material background. Otherwise, you see, even good birth, Brahmin birth, gets in the way of pure devotional service. There is a very interesting pastime related in the Chaitanya Mangal by Lochan Das Thakur about a Brahmana, South Indian Brahmin. And Brahmins from South India are known even today for being very pakka, very rigid. So this was a Vaisnava Brahmana, and he was very poor. He was so poor that he had been rejected by his family because he couldn't take care of them. He wasn't providing anything. He couldn't, it was very difficult for him to even get a handful of food to eat. Somehow his karma was just so negative due to past sinful activities. So he was skinny, he was weak, he was dressed in rags, and so he took a pilgrimage all the way to Jagannath Puri, because Lord Jagannath is famous. He's famous around India for being very merciful, very compassionate, and people with all kinds of problems and needs, they go before Lord Jagannath and pray. He's the Lord of the universe. So he came with the same intent. So he came before Lord Jagannath in the temple, and he presented himself in this way: I am a Brahmana, but I am so unfortunate that I can't even get a handful of food in a day to eat. I can't even get proper clothes on my back. Therefore, because of this misfortune, I've not been able to maintain my Brahminical standard of life. I'm too poor. I can't worship the Lord. I can't do all the vidhis that I'm supposed to do, the different duties of a brahmana. I can't study Shastra, I can't teach Shastra, no one respects me, no one wants a guru like me. So poor. So, because of this misfortune which is somehow upon me, I cannot serve you. So he made this demand to Lord Jagannath. You have to help me. You give me wealth. If you don't give me wealth, then how can I live as Brahmana? I will commit suicide right in front of you, here in the temple. Give up my life, right in your sight. So this So, at the same time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was staying in Jagannath Puri as sannyasi with his associates. They were engaged in kirtan, just as the Brahmin was presenting himself to Lord Jagannath. Suddenly, everyone noticed Lord Chaitanya's mood change. He was in the midst of blissful Harinam Kirtan, and suddenly he became unhappy. And he's deceased from the Kirtan. He stopped, desisted from the Kirtan, and became very quiet and introspective. And so everyone was wondering, why is Lord Chaitanya's mood changed? They were wondering if he had committed some offense or whatever. They couldn't understand it. Lord Chaitanya was not revealing his mind. So this Brahmana, he decided, he came the next day and still his prayers were not answered. So he decided to fast until death. So he stopped begging for foodstuff and went 7 days without eating. So, but 7 days, he did not die. Simply his suffering increased so much. And he thought, this is too much. This is not a good way to give up one's body. It's too slow and painful. I've suffered already so much. So he thought, I'll just drown myself in the ocean. So he went to the beach at Puri. And he was just praying to Varunadev, please take me. Please give me place in your waters. I will give up this body by drowning myself here. And just as he was finishing his prayer, he looked up and he saw a huge person coming out of the ocean. And when I say huge, I mean this person was as big as a mountain. Huge, towering over the horizon, just coming up out of the waves, the water rolling off his body like what? Like Niagara. Splashing off. And he came walking out of the water, and as soon as he stepped on land, his form reduced to a normal size. And this person appeared to be a very aristocratic, very noble, very learned, very saintly Brahmana, the jewel of the Brahmana order. So this poor Brahmana, he thought, he was of course amazed, and he thought, this must be Lord Jagannath. Only Lord Jagannath could assume such gigantic form and come out of the ocean. This can only be Lord Jagannath. So my prayer is answered. So he was running after this a strange person as he was walking towards Puri. And he was running behind, falling, because he was very weak and skinny, so he was running and falling and gasping and trying to catch up. It was difficult, and finally he was calling, "Sir, sir, please let me join you. Who are you? Tell me who you are." And the strange Brahmin turned and said, "Why you accost me in this way? I am who I am. What is it to you who I am?" So he wouldn't give him his name. So the Brahmin said, no, I think I know who you are. I think I know your real identity. Tell me what is your mission here? And the strange Brahmin said, "I've come to see Lord Jagannath." And then he just, without paying any further attention to this Brahmin, proceeded onward. So the Brahmin was following behind him very faithfully, like a hungry dog. And he was surprised to see that this new Brahmin did not actually go to the Jagannath temple. Instead, he went to the residence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the Tota Gopinatha. So this South Indian Brahmin was a little confused. And he followed him right into Lord Chaitanya's quarters. Lord Chaitanya was seated there, golden and effulgent, surrounded by the company of pure devotees, all renunciates. And so this South Indian Brahmin just sort of hung at the door. He was a little ashamed to come in that august assembly. So he was just looking at the door. He offered his obeisances and was looking to see what happened. And so his new friend, who came from the ocean, just came in to Lord Chaitanya's presence and offered his obeisances. And Lord Chaitanya immediately embraced him and had him sit down next to him and was talking very confidentially with him. And all of Lord Chaitanya's associates, they were all surprised. They also didn't know who this person was. They could not understand why Lord Chaitanya is welcoming him so intimately, like he's a long-lost friend. Lord Chaitanya said, "Oh, you have come. For so long I have not seen you." And so then they began to converse in a way which no one could understand. It was a very mysterious conversation. No one could follow the meaning of the exchange. And at once, Lord Chaitanya suddenly looked up at the skinny Brahmin who was standing in the doorway and said, "So you know this man, isn't it?" And his friend, the Brahmin from the ocean, said, "Yes, he joined me as I was coming here." Lord Chaitanya said, "Yes, he is a Brahmin, but he is using his Brahminical position, Brahminical birth, to harass Lord Jagannath. He went before Lord Jagannath and he threatened to give up his Brahmana body, to throw down the Brahmana body, unless Lord Jagannath gives him wealth." Such are the people today in Kali Yuga. They never consider their own fault. Why is he suffering? Because of sinful reactions. He committed sins. But he's not considering that. People today in this age, they consider that when they suffer, when suffering comes upon them, it is the fault of God. They immediately blame God and come before God, if they have any faith at all in God. Then they do like this Brahmin. They come before God and threaten, "Give me wealth or there will be trouble." "You have made a mistake by putting this misfortune upon me. So I'm protesting." This is their attitude. And if good fortune comes to them, then there is no gratitude to God. No, it is because of my good qualities. I am so great that of course I deserve this good fortune. Of course it is mine. So this is how they think. So in this way Lord Chaitanya was criticizing this Brahmin in the presence of everyone. The Brahmin was ashamed. So then Lord Chaitanya said, so he turned to this unknown Brahmin from the ocean and said, "So you take care of him. You give him all the wealth and more that he needs." And so this Brahmin from the ocean, he smiled and he said, "Yes, my lord, I'll do that." And so then he offered his obeisances and left. And as he walked out, he turned to the skinny Brahmin and said, "You come with me now." So then the Brahmin was following behind. But can you tell me, please explain to me, why you came to see this very effulgent and beautiful sannyasi? You told me you were going to see Lord Jagannath, but you came here. And what was the meaning of this conversation you had with me, and had with him? And what is this? You're going to give me wealth? I don't understand. And so this unknown Brahmin, he stopped and turned. He said, "Yes." He said, "I did see Lord Jagannath. That is Lord Jagannath, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has appeared here in Jagannath Puri as sannyasi, but he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I have come from far away just to have his darshan. And now Lord Chaitanya has ordered me to give you wealth, so we will go together to South India. In South India I have a very vast treasure, like no one can imagine. And I will give you some small portion. You will be wealthier than anybody in the world. I give you a little portion of this treasure of mine. So you'll be satisfied." So then this Brahmin, he slapped himself on the forehead. "You said that Chaitanya is Jagannath?" "Yes. He is the Supreme Lord himself." "Oh, I am such a fool." Then this Brahmin came to his right frame of mind. He said, "I just had the darshan of Lord Jagannath himself, and all I was thinking of is my empty belly and my misfortune. And now all I will get as a result of my having seen the Lord myself directly is some material wealth. What a fool I am." So then he fell at the feet of this unknown Brahmin. He said, "Please, I beg you, take me back to see the Lord. I have yet another request." So he was bold in asking this because he knew this person, whoever he is, as they say, thick and thin. He has a very, very unique relationship with Lord Chaitanya. He can just walk right in. And Lord Chaitanya is calling him near and sitting down and embracing him, and they're talking very confidentially. And even the other associates who are there every day are surprised. They cannot understand. What is this? Who is this person? What is this relationship? So this unknown friend said, "All right, I'll take you back." So he brought him back. And this time, the unfortunate Brahmin, he fell at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was overwhelmed with both shame and ecstasy. And he prayed to the Lord, "Please, you give me real blessings." By real blessings, he meant you keep me at your lotus feet. Don't just send me away with some temporary prize of material wealth, which I cannot maintain anyway because my life will soon come to an end. Please give me eternal benediction. The Lord Chaitanya laughed. And he said, "Don't worry, Lord Jagannath was very kind to you today. So he's satisfied all of your material wants. You'll have no more problem. And now that you are intelligent enough to come back again, now you will surely attain pure devotional service. You will surely never again forget the lotus feet of the Lord. And you will attain his eternal association after this life." So then the Brahmana went away very happily. So after the South Indian Brahmana and the unknown Brahmana from the sea had left, the associates of Lord Chaitanya, they began to look at one another, and they were shaking their heads. So Puri Maharaj, who was the senior among them, he very respectfully approached the Lord and said, "We're all very curious to know the meaning of what we have seen today. Everyone is actually afraid to ask you, but because I am senior most here, I will ask, can you kindly explain the meaning of all this? So Lord Chaitanya smiled and said, yes, that poor Brahmin, he's from South India. Because of his past sins, he became poor and unfortunate. And so he went to Lord Jagannath and he harassed the Lord and threatened to give up his life if the Lord didn't give him wealth. In this way, he was showing his persistent attachment to this mundane concept of the self, thinking, I am the body, I am a Brahmin, I deserve more than this. You must give this to me. So, and that other person, that Brahmana, came to his senses. So, by Vibhishana's grace, that Brahmana has also received pure devotional service. So all the Vaisnava, they were very thrilled on hearing the story, and they all began to shout, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So this is a very interesting and very illustrative pastime, because you can see very clearly how this Brahmana comes from good background, Sujata, very nice birth. But that birth was actually, for him, an obstacle in his spiritual understanding. He was blinded by that birth, so that although he could come before Lord Jagannath, that's one thing, in Jagannath temple they're very strict about who may come in. Only caste Hindus. If even Western Vaishnavas come, they'll not be allowed in. So because of his good birth, he could have the darshan of Lord Jagannath, but it was only for asking material benediction. But he received Vaishnava Sangha, the association of a pure devotee. That pure devotee is Vibhishana, who, like Prahlad Maharaj, is coming from family of the demons. But such devotees like Prahlad and Vibhishana they're not bound by the bodily conception. And just see the relationship with Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya stopped everything. Oh, Vibhishana is here. Come, sit beside me. Such intimate relationship. Because Vibhishana, Krishna Eka Sharana, he surrendered everything. That was his great quality, He left. He was the trying to help Ravana by giving him good counsel. Just return Sita Devi, everything will be all right. But Ravana was such a rascal, such a Rakshasa demon, that he was threatening his brother with punishment. Don't talk this way to me. If you were not my brother, I would have killed you already, and if you speak like this again, I will kill you anyway. So then Vibhishana, very sad at heart, he left Lanka, and he came to Lord Ram's camp. And when he arrived there, Hanuman and Sugriva and Angada, the leaders of the Vanaras, they were very suspicious. So they were wondering, he's Ravana's brother. How can we trust him? He's probably just come to spy on us. But Vibhishana, he came before Lord Ramchandra and he fell at his lotus feet. And he said, I am here. I have no other shelter than you. I cannot go back to my brother. I am your eternal devotee. So please accept me as your servant. And when he said that, then Lord Ramchandra, he quoted in response to the suspicions of Hanuman and the others. He not quoted, but he spoke a very famous verse, which is very often quoted by the Vaishnavas, in which he said that anyone who surrenders to me, it is my vow, it is my firm vow that I will always protect him. I will always give him a place at my lotus feet. So, therefore we see millions of years later, when Vibhishana came out of the ocean, immediately Lord Chaitanya, yes, come. Come and sit down. Yeah, so this is Krishna Ekashara. This is the actual quality of the Vaishnava, to be always surrendered to Krishna. not considering one's high or low birth. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions? Yes.
Prabhupada Maharaj and his schoolmates were taught in school about Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Although they were in demoniac family. So what kind of Dharma they were taught by other demons, by sons of Shukracharya? What kind of Dharma demons followed?
Well, these demons were described in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Puranic histories. They live in the Bilasvarga, which is a heavenly region but under the earth. So for someone to live there, he must be religious. He must follow Dharma. It's not a place for people who are just sinful, who are just unregulated, with no sense control at all. That's not the qualification for being counted among these great asuras, the Danavas, the descendants of Danu, the Daityas, the descendants of Diti. These are wives of Kasyapa, who gave birth to this great race of demons. They're highly qualified. They're related to the demigods. So, just like I was mentioning, Ravana, he was a master of the three Vedas. All these demons are very learned, very powerful. They're very noble. They're Kshatriyas. But the main thing is that they are by nature, they're in opposition, they're envious of the demigods. Now, the demigods are devotees of Vishnu. Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Daiva. Demigods are known as demigods because they're devotees of Vishnu. Their function in this universe, administrative function, is their service to Lord Vishnu. So, due to a long-standing, it's a kind of family enmity. The traces, that is explained in Bhagavatam and other Puranas. The origin of this enmity is traced out. It has to do with family rivalry and this and that. So because of these things, because of their materially attached, a bit more so than their exalted cousins, the demigods, therefore these family rivalries, they're very, very important to them. See, actually the family means all in all to them. So this is the central focus of their dharma. They're following Vedic religion. It's centered around the family, not around service to Krishna. The demigods, often you can see in the demigods in the Shastras, there are similar symptoms of attachment. But finally, demigods are demigods because, at least at the last instance, they'll surrender to the Supreme Lord. Perhaps after everything else is taken away from them for a time. Sometimes that's why the demons become powerful and they conquer the demigods. So the demigods, in that way, are forced to surrender to the Lord. But in general, the demons, by being opposed to the demigods, the Vishnu Bhaktas, then in general the demons are of a very sinful nature. That means they're opposed to the Supreme Lord Himself. Like Hiranyakashipu, he became the enemy of Vishnu. Why did he want to kill Vishnu? Because Vishnu killed his brother, Hiranyaksha. First, Hiranyaksha had no particular enmity to Lord Vishnu, but he had a completely wrong conception of Lord Vishnu. He took Lord Vishnu as being just another demigod whose business is just to maintain, support everyone equally. You see, materialistic people, even today in India, many Hindus, they take that Vishnu is preserver. He is maintainer. They're more interested in worshipping Lord Shiva, for instance, the destroyer, because they think by his power of destruction, that's real power. He can do something. Vishnu is just maintaining everything. That's not so impressive. So, and they, Vishnu is supposed to be neutral. He's supposed to be in the background, supporting everyone equally. So, when Hiranyakashipu understood that his brother had been killed by Vishnu in the form of Varaha, he became the sworn enemy of Vishnu, thinking that Vishnu has stepped out of his place. He has overstepped his responsibility. He has taken sides with the demigods. So that means he is no longer qualified to be in that post, so I will kill him. So this is how they become envious of Vishnu, because he was envious of the demigods, first of all. And then when Vishnu took side of the demigods, so to speak, then he became envious of Vishnu. So they followed, just like you were saying, Shukracharya. He's a smarta brahmana, materialistic brahmana. That means, just like in ancient Greece, there was a class of philosophers, teachers, called sophists. And Socrates, Prabhupada said Socrates was a Siddha Purush. He was actually an enlightened person, although he was Greek philosopher, but he knew the science of the soul. So Socrates was very opposed to the sophists. The sophists were professional teachers. They would give knowledge in return for payment. And actually the whole Western tradition of education comes from these sophists. Now, in the schools, the teachers are paid. They get a salary. This all comes from these sophists. And what they teach, there's a word, sophistry. Sophistry means some professional learning, just words on a page. It actually has no profound value. It's only knowledge to help you get through life. You see, professional knowledge. But that's called sophistry. So there's a class of Brahmins in India called smarta Brahmins, who are the equivalent, sophists. They teach the Vedic knowledge, but it's just a professional routine. And people come to them for material blessings and material advantages, material learning. And they give it, and you have to pay them. So this Shukracharya was in the employ of the demons. So the Dharma that was being taught by Shukracharya's sons was this sophistry. Vedic knowledge, but not for any transcendental purpose. Anything else? Yes?
My desire to serve, to actually surrender Krishna, but at the same time one may be bothered also by this desire for fame and recognition. And I heard that actually if one is really lucky, that one may at the end of one's life to completely give up this desire for fame. What it is to make one lucky, and how can one find this?
Well, your fortune grows as you remain steady in your position as Krishna's servant. You see, Prabhupada used to say, sometimes he said that one who knows he's in Maya is not in Maya. So, a devotee who knows, I'm in Maya, like you're saying, I have these desires for fame and recognition and this and that. These impurities are there lying in my heart and they give me trouble. But at the same time, the devotee knows that these desires are just obstructions. They're just trouble. So, what to do? I'll just serve Krishna. Prabhupada actually said this is the test of sincerity. When Prabhupada once got a letter from a disciple, senior disciple who had been Prabhupada's servant, personal servant, for some time. And then this disciple came to Prabhupada and requested that he change his service because it was too much for him. He was becoming too unregulated. So Prabhupada was not very happy, but finally relented and let him go. This was all on the plea that once he's free of this service, then he'll get his sadhana together and become stronger. But then soon after separating from Prabhupada's service, he sent a letter in which he said, I'm becoming overwhelmed by material desires. I don't know what my future is. I'm just clinging to your lotus feet, this and that. Prabhupada read this and Prabhupada just said, he's not sincere. So sincerity means that although the impurities are there, still one remains firm in one's service. The service is the lifeline, just like we're in the ocean and being tossed here and there by the waves of material existence. So the spiritual master throws us, just like he comes, the ship of the Parampara comes. Our Guru Maharaj, our initiating spiritual master, throws us a line. So you have to grasp that line. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati used to tell a parable, story with an illustrative example, illustrating some point of philosophy. So he told many of these, and one of them was of a man who fell in a well, and he was calling, help, help, hit me out. So someone came and threw a line down. And then instead of taking the line, he said, can you help me hold this line? No, this is what you have to do. This is the test of your sincerity. You have to grab the line. And you have to hold it very tightly. Help comes in the form of the line of service. But you have to take it. You cannot say, oh, please help me grasp this line very tightly so that I can be pulled out. No, that's up to you. But this is the test of sincerity. So yes, we're being tossed here and there by the waves of material existence. It's very unpleasant. So here's the help. The line has come. Now take it. Now, you're taking it, you'll still be tossed back and forth. That's not going to stop. But you have to take it and you have to start climbing yourself. And as you start climbing, then pulling will also start on the other end. And we'll gradually come out of this. But the actual test of our sincerity is holding on tightly. So one holds on and one knows at the same time as one's dangerous position, I'm being tossed here and there. So what to do? Cling tighter, tighter, tighter. Hang on. That's the only safety. So that's sincerity. So Prabhupada said, a devotee who knows he's in Maya, actually is not in Maya. Because if he knows he's in Maya, he's going to be hanging on to the devotional service given to him by his spiritual master. The more he knows he's in Maya, the more he'll hang on to this. It's when one thinks, I'm very advanced, and then let's go. Thinks, wow, I'm so advanced now. Why do I have to cling to this, all these rules and regulations and these duties and everything like some kind of neophyte? Let go, But as soon as you let go, you may have been lifted out somewhat, but as soon as you let go, you're dropped right back into the ocean again. Anything else? Yes?
You were speaking about the importance of service, devotional service. I wonder where one can draw the line, because if one has family but also has to do something to have some income, then it reduces the time for devotional service.
Well, there is Grihastha Dharma. The Dharma to be followed by Grihasthas, which is different from Brahmachari Dharma or Sannyas Dharma or Vanaprastha Dharma. So in the Grihastha Dharma, there is provision for earning money to maintain the family. But that should be done as sacrifice. So some portion, the recommended portion is of course 50% of the earnings should be given over to Krishna's service. And that is, actually we can cite an example. My godbrother Burijan Prabhu, in the 1970s, for some years, he was living a little separate from active, devotional service within ISKCON. But he was still faithful disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And he was working and earning money, and he was sending Prabhupada regular checks in the mail. Wherever Prabhupada was, he would know where Prabhupada would be, so he would send him in the post a check. And then the other portion he was of course keeping for his family. So Prabhupada was very pleased to receive these regular contributions. And once Prabhupada wrote him a letter, the letter said, "This is the most important service." Everybody has their quote, right? The book distributors, he said to Prabhu, "This is the most important service." And Prasadam Priyavata Prabhu, Food for Life, Prabhupada said, "This is the most important." Everybody. Krishna Chaitra Prabhu may have his deity worship quote. Everybody has their quote. Even the householders who are working outside, they have their quote too now. Prabhupada actually said, this is the most important service. To work and to give money to the pure devotee. Everybody has their quote. So everyone can be inspired and go on. You don't need to engage in the battle of the quotes. No, my quote is better than your quote. Anything else? Srila Prabhupada ki jai.